It's the year 2018. So many things have happened. So much. Too much. These are the tales of Comic-Con. 6 Demon Bag style.
So we went to Comic-Con. Should we just go right into it?
Yeah, let's just roll.
We went to Comic-Con.
Thursday.
Most of us went Thursday. I had some prior things I couldn't get out of, and so I just went Friday, Saturday, and I almost didn't go at all, but I'm really glad I did. I had misgivings going into Comic-Con. I feel like going there is kind of like going to your high school reunion when you have done nothing, when you're living in your parents' basement. Like for me as a writer, because I just don't have anything major going on. So I was kind of dreading it because I feel like I'm seeing people that I haven't seen in a whole year. A lot of them, some of them are professionals and doing really well. They have tables and stuff like that, and I got nothing like that. And so I kind of was dreading going, but I still had a really good time. So I'm glad I did go, but we'll get into why. First, talk about you guys going on Thursday, because I've never been on a Thursday.
I have your same lamentations often about going to Comic-Con, but luckily, Comic-Con's a place where nobody knows my name. Do.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of people who might have tables and might seem like successes or something, but they're all the same losers. Going to a con, scraping together enough money to get a table, sitting there with that kind of...
Like your beloved Debbie Huey?
Yeah, when you go through the small press section or through Artist Alley, and they all kind of have that same eager kind of sad kind of... I don't always like going through there because if you look at them, if you make eye contact with them, you feel like you got to buy something from them.
Yeah, that's like
they're like Calcutta hookers or something. And then I feel like it might make them feel bad, and you never want anybody to feel bad,
especially not the people peddling risque material.
I always buy the
the pinups and
all the.
It's not even stuff. A question.
Yeah, they see me come in and they just like, oh, successful con this year. But yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of or upset about. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah, and especially with all your perceived lack of accomplishment, you've still done way more than me.
That's
You're the only one.
Doesn't make you feel any better, does it?
You're the only one whose book I brought here tonight.
What was I gonna say? How many years have we been going to Comic-Con, though?
I was thinking that. I still haven't done 100% the math, but I think this is like my 12th or 13th Comic-Con.
And this is counting with us or on your own as well?
Just in general, but mostly with you guys.
20 years of Comic-Con for me.
I've only been to one Comic-Con without you guys.
Now I do feel sad, though. I haven't accomplished anything in 20 years of Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think you would have to reassess that.
Yeah.
If you're fishing for validation, you'll find none.
Yeah.
There will be no nibbles.
Because I hate your books.
Yeah, it's starting again already. I don't want to go to 2019.
Well, that's the beauty part of Comic-Con. It's like this amazing sensory overload weekend out of reality once a year that I really count on to recharge my batteries in. But
I do come back recharged after every one, too.
I want to say, like, the day I went back to work, Monday morning, after going to Comic-Con, so, like... Forgive me for working blue a little bit here, but like the morning after you have sex and you haven't had it in a while, and you're like clicking your heels and you're whistling your jaunty tune, and like the world is your oyster. That's how I felt.
Colors again, and you can hear songs.
That's right.
You got that
life's worth living again.
Like,
you got that
500 days of summer. Huh?
You got that Comic-Con smell on you.
That's right. Yeah, that's how I felt on Monday going back to work, and of course by the end of the day I was
your soul was crushed.
I was the shape of a C sitting at my desk.
People are still asking me, why am I so happy?
Well, I was wired. It was like every year I go, I come back and I'm completely wired. And I didn't really sleep when I got home. I just was kind of in this half awake, half asleep state. And all weekend I just felt like, man, that was a great effing con.
And you were only there for one day.
Yeah, I was only there for like 8 hours.
Maybe that helps.
Because I wasn't sure I was even going to go and kept trying to talk myself out of going. But
That's always when you have the best time.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was doing.
It's like going to the gym. It's like, I don't want to go to the gym. And then you go and you nail it and have a great workout.
Yeah.
The opposite of going to the gym, though. So what was Thursday like, though? Because I still have never gone on a Thursday. No, I did. No, I didn't. I did not go on a Thursday.
Well, Thursday...
I'll tell you what Thursday wasn't like. It wasn't like what I had imagined.
Because we got there excruciatingly late compared to what we had planned.
Regardless, last year the lines were so unprecedented that we hatched a plan. We thought, you know what? Next year, we'll come down Thursday. And we're going to beat all the crowds. And there will be no lines. And we'll take off at the end of Saturday. We won't even deal with Sunday, which is amateur hour. And so we got down there at noon on Thursday, and already the lines were just out of control. Comic-Con is growing at an exponential rate.
and will continue to.
And will continue to. And there's no defeating or outsmarting the lines.
This was the one year where I got a little bummed that you don't need badges to do everything, because the guy right beside us in the longest line the longest line I've ever waited for in my entire life, 10 times longer than the DMV lines, the guy next to me did not have a Comic-Con badge.
Yeah, I spent the night to see episode 1, and it seems like you guys had a longer time in the line than I did.
Well, that's last year we were talking about wanting to do the Westworld experience, and the people in front of us in this mega line told us about having to wait all night long with no sleep in order to get into Westworld. So we had hatched a plan to get up for 5 a.m. last year. It wouldn't have worked. We still wouldn't have got in.
Tell your miserable line story, because I heard it already, but go ahead, tell it.
Well, maybe we can keep it brief.
What were you in line for?
Well, actually, this story begins on Thursday.
Yeah,
it does. Actually, this story begins when I was born.
It begins in
Just waiting for this
1978.
moment.
You guys like to do a lot of the con off-site things.
The off-site
I do too
experiences.
sometimes too, but
Adventures, if you will.
you were trying to do a VR show this time. It was a VR experience for
Not a spectacular.
for
It was
Amazon has
Amazon's-
a new program coming out called Jack Ryan.
right.
And so this was one of those Jack Ryan experiences where they had a section set up to look like a makeshift military camp.
Mm-hmm.
And you went in, we stood in a line for about an hour.
on Thursday.
On a Thursday. We got our analyst badges because they had us fill out all sorts of stuff, and they printed out our badges on the spot.
And our analyst wristband.
We met up with a friend named Greg, who you've probably heard on the podcast before.
By the time we got there Thursday, the line for the Jack Ryan escape room was 2 hours long, and we'd already waited an hour to get in, and the escape room experience was only 15 minutes long. And the whole giant city block sized VR experience was capped for the day. They
And
weren't-
had been for hours.
Yeah. People had lined up at 5 a.m. on Thursday, which was the first day the Jack Ryan experience was even open.
Jeez.
And they'd completely capped the line. No one else was in. So the word was that if you had waited in line for an hour on Thursday and gotten your analyst badge and wristband, you could go in the Fast Pass line the following day. So at least that hour wasn't wasted, and you had a shot at doing what, by all accounts, promised to be like the coolest thing at Comic-Con, was this city block sized VR set experience. So we decided we're not going to miss out on this peak experience like we did the Westworld immersive theater experience from the year before. And as it happened, Ryan had to get up and make a phone call around 5 a.m. anyway the following day. So we thought, you know what, screw it.
Yeah, for the first time ever.
For the first time ever, we're going to get up at 5 a.m. and we're going to head down to the convention. And even if we don't get into the Jack Ryan thing, we'll just get a massive jump on the day and just have all of Friday ahead of us and get to do everything else we wanted to do. So we get into line at 6 a.m. And there's
when I left the house to get
We got a good position in line.
We got a good position in the Fast Pass line, which was people who had waited an hour on Thursday.
And at 6 o'clock on Friday, there were already people there.
Oh, yes.
ahead of
There
you.
were already people lining up, and there were also people lining up for just the general experience who didn't have the analyst badge and wristband yet. And so I went and got some coffee and food from Starbucks, and we just kind of hung out in line. It was overcast. It was really nice. The fact that we'd gotten up at 5 a.m. hadn't really hit us yet, so everything
Took
was
turns
cool and
making Marriott
copacetic.
bathroom trips.
So we made our bathroom trips, and some security people came out and picked the first 50 people in our line, although the idea was they were going to take the first 100. Instead, they took the first 50 from our line and the first 50 from the general line, which is a little bit bogus because we'd all invested an hour the day before, but they didn't want to exclude the people that had just gotten down there on Friday.
I'm outraged for you guys for having that.
Well, hold on to that outrage. So they let us through, and they put us in a new line. And so we all get in. The first 100 people who had lined up that day at 5 a.m. got to go through at 9 a.m. to wait in this third line. And from 9 to 12, we waited.
So you got there at 6,
We got there
waited
at
till
6,
9,
waited till 9.
and then from 9 to 12, you were in another line.
Yes. And Greg and I were trying to calculate how quickly this line was moving or how long it would take us to get there. We were only about 20 deep in line. And I said, Greg, how long do you think this whole VR experience is? 10 minutes? 12 minutes? 15 minutes? Because there's about 17 people ahead of us.
And we were not moving.
And we're not moving. And if it's
And it's been 2 hours.
10 minutes per person, that's like 3.5 hours until we get to the front of the line. But newsflash, we've been waiting from 9 a.m. till noon, and we haven't moved an inch. That's when we found out that there was a VIP line, and they were just letting people in front of us. And
Lots and lots of
lots
people.
and lots. So many people that from 9 a.m. to noon, our line didn't move at all.
So who do you have to be to be a VIP?
At least you got to see all the celebrities walking in.
Oh,
in front
the
of you, right?
cavalcade of stars.
I don't know where
All
they
the
were bringing those
Avengers.
people in, but we did not see a single person go into that tent. There must have been a secret VIP entrance.
That was
too.
the one smart thing. So around this point, I start grumbling because the people in line in front of us were really cool. They had a card game. We sat down.
Shelby
started
and Philip, if you're not listening, which we know you're not.
We hope this finds you well. They were cool. Hanging out in line was all well and good, but I was like, it's noon now. It's going to be 3 hours until we get to the front of this line, and this line's not even moving. Guys, I don't think this is worth it. I think we should cut bait, because otherwise, if we're here till like 5 p.m. or something, this one thing is going to eat
2
like,
days.
most of our con. Is just going to be consumed.
And I said, you fucking go if you want, but I'm staying right here because I have not done all of this for nothing.
So we were running into the sunk cost fallacy, and around this time where I'm agitating to leave, Ryan wants to stay, a somewhat harried Jack Ryan Amazon VR Experience employee comes over and says, guys, we are going to fix this. You have my word. And then she ran off for 20 minutes. And so no one wanted to get out of line. And then she came back and said, we're going to take your name and your phone number, and we're going to call all of you. And then she ran away for 20 minutes. And then she came back and said, you're each going to get a wristband, and we're going to take your name and number.
And make sure you wear this wristband, plus this wristband, plus this
our
other necklace.
analyst badge. So we
Or
waited.
you're not getting in.
So we waited for like maybe another 30 minutes until they went through, counted us all down, and then assigned each of us a 15-minute window and took our name and number. So we were number 17, 18, and 19, I believe. and Ryan was like 3 o'clock, Greg was 3:15, I was 3:30, and so that's 4 people an hour. And I look behind me at this line that's snaking around and around and around again. I'm like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. 60% of these people are getting the bone. 60% of these people that got here at 6 a.m. and waited until noon are getting screwed. I was like, all right, so we got our time slots.
And this is at this time I had texted and been like, so, where do you guys want to meet? And I had already done half of the show floor and everything, and seen like everybody I knew and stuff.
Everyone was texting us like, "What are you doing now? What are you doing now?" And we're like, "Line, we're in fucking line."
Still Jack Ryan.
And so from noon to 3, we went over to the Lexus parking lot and to the beer garden, walked around a little bit, got some food, and it was fun hanging out, having a few beers, but we were kind of perpetually stressed, so we went back extra early to make sure we didn't miss Ryan's 3 o'clock time slot.
And by this time, I had taken everything I'd bought for myself and the kids and gone back to the van where I'd parked, and I was just sitting in the van reading comic books and like texting you guys.
And they're like, "Where are you now?" We're like, we're going back into line. It's 3 o'clock on Saturday. We're going back into line for the thing.
Friday.
3 o'clock Friday.
Yeah, you were like, we're going back in the line, and I was like, why back?
Why are you going back into this line that you got into on Thursday? So we get there at like 2:50. Ryan goes ahead. Greg and I run to the bathroom and then go into line to meet him. But we have these time slots. We're not too worried. And then all of a sudden, there's all these people between us and Ryan.
The VIPs.
They are VIPs.
But it was the Avengers or something, right? It was the cast of the new Doctor.
No.
It was no, none of those people.
Oh, good setup. God bless. Oh man, I got in line. I couldn't find Jeff and Greg because I had to go to the bathroom. Ran into line. Then 5 or 6 guys got in behind me, high-fiving each other. Pretty boys, the lot of them. And then Greg and Jeff got in behind those guys.
More pretty boys.
I'm prettier than this man.
The Jack Ryan employee said something about, "Oh, how long have you all been waiting?" And I said, "Since 5 goddamn a.m." And she assumed the guys behind me had also been waiting a really long time, and they did not correct her, which was my first trigger. My first anger trigger.
You don't get frosted tips looking that good if you get up at 5 a.m.
One of these pretty boys tapped me on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, did you say you were waiting here since 5 a.m.? I said, "Yes." And then we waited and waited and waited while all the VIPs went ahead of us and sucked up all our time slots.
But it was the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was the cast of Star Wars.
Close.
Yeah, okay.
Very close. The pretty boys said, "Oh, those stinking VIPs," as they high-fived each other once again. Jokingly, they might have been interns, who knows? So this led me to understand that these were not the Guardians of the Galaxy, not the cast of Doctor Who, but a close third, IMDb interns, who are now sucking up Jeff and Greg's time slots, and who I understood to represent about 80 extra minutes of waiting.
So you guys got bumped for IMDb interns?
Yes.
Almost.
Yes. So Greg and I are standing there, and then there's this clot of very pretty young boys, and then past them there's Ryan, who's like seething.
Yeah, there's steam coming out of my ears, and not just because it was 1,000,000 degrees.
Is this like a prison situation? Because these boys in line keep getting prettier and prettier. You guys like...
We had been waiting in line for quite some time.
Given any extra anger stimuli, it would have been a prison situation.
It's like Midnight Express or something.
And
oh,
Billy!
And it was weird, like waiting in line, and then Ryan's like at the other end of this clot of randos, and
after a 6-hour ordeal.
After a many-hour ordeal. So I turned to Greg and I said, "Should I just be a dick and like cut all these guys?" He was like, I don't know. They're in line in front of us. And I was like, yeah, I think it's time to pull the dick move. So I just cut all of them in line and line up behind Ryan. I'm like, hey guys, sorry, we've been waiting here since 6 a.m. And one of the guys was like, hey man, chill, we're all going to get there at the same time. And I'm like, I'm not going to respond to that. And so then finally they come to open up the line and bring Ryan in. And like, so, and I turn to one of the VIPs.
Quote unquote.
And he has a press badge. And I say, oh, you're with the press? He's like, yeah.
It was New York Times, or
No.
It was like Geek and Sundry, or
Oh, the other guy, right.
The New Yorker or Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
First you said, are you
Time
press?
Magazine.
And one of the IMDb guys said, one of the IMDb interns said, VIP! With his fucking thumbs in the air.
So I turned to the press guy and I said, oh, you're with the press. He said, yeah, I've got a show. It's like a documentary. It's not a documentary. Recreational. It's like a tour. And I said, oh, is that on Travel Channel? He's like, it's online. I'm like, you motherfucker. You've got a vlog. And you're
This
here.
is in addition to the
Yes,
IMDb
this is in
interns.
addition to the IMDb interns. So we cut all these guys, and
so
when
they were like YouTubers or something.
something. So
No, the one guy was on his own. He wasn't even part of the gaggle, but he was in addition. So that was another 20 minutes of waiting.
Was
time.
he sexy?
No,
he
not.
wasn't
That's
one of
why
the
he
pretty
wasn't
pretty
with them.
boys. Alas.
He was not part of the IMDb Pretty Boys.
So we follow Ryan into the tent where we're going to get all our gear on. And, ooh, Ryan was hot.
20 million degrees in there for starters. Also, I was angry.
Yes.
But it was a great experience, though, right, guys? It was the best thing you ever did.
Well, this
Well,
is
hang on.
this
Hang
is
on a minute.
before Ryan told us they were IMDb interns, and he was just like biting his lip, shaking his head, looking at the ground, swearing. He's like, "They fucking ruined it. They fucking ruined
They
this for
ruined
me."
it. Well,
And
before
we
I
were
even
like-
got in the
It
tent.
was pre-ruined.
Yeah, we were like, "Whoa!"
It was also around this time where one of the IMDb interns got ushered into the tent and seated ahead of all three of us, despite all of our best efforts. This is where I got triple angry because the young Amazon employee decided to suit him up with his VR rig before any of us, and including the two people that were in line ahead of us who also had waited 6 hours. So,
Shelby and and
no matter what happened, IMDb intern got to go first.
But it was
Eventually.
great. It was totally worth it, though. It was great. It was
Well,
a great
it took
experience.
about an hour and a half to get our harness and our VR gear on. I mean,
Jesus, were they like suits of armor and barding or something?
Were
Sitting
you in
the
space
hot
suits?
tent. There was only like 3 VR rigs to go
there's only a
around.
couple rigs, so they had to put people through before they could get us situated.
So you had to wait for them before you got your
We had to
Yeah.
watch IMDb guy flirt for an hour.
With you?
I wish. At least I would have got something out of this trip.
So eventually, Ryan got suited up, Greg got suited up, I got suited up.
And
then
then you had the
and
greatest experience you've ever had at the con.
And I
right?
turned to them and I said, "There's no way there's not going to be some technical difficulties or something for one of us."
Then I got carted off, and so, real quick description. The VR experience, they set up a huge city block, like Jeff said, of buildings, 2 stories off the ground. At one end, a helicopter. At the other end, a Jeep. A zip line in between, walking the plank in between, fighting bad guys in between. So they cart me over to the helicopter. Are you ready, soldier? Are you going to be as good as Jack Ryan? I don't think so, ma'am.
He's only an analyst.
Etc. and etc. and so on. And so I get up into the 20,000 degree helicopter, and I wait, while Pretty Boy talks for an hour to whoever the hell is on the other side of the curtain inside the helicopter. He finally gets his turn. They throw him out of the helicopter, hopefully to his death. Then the next guy gets up into the other side of the curtain, and he's gone in like 5 seconds. So I don't know what the fuck this intern was doing, but
Use networking.
finally everyone else is gone. It's me, Jeff, and Greg in the helicopter, like a bunch of sexual tyrannosauruses. And
Were you guys? I think you might have been a couple of slack jobs at this point.
slack job.
So you guys had to do this. You couldn't do it together. You had to go individually. It was all
individually,
yeah,
one by one.
It was
So they hooked me up. They put the VR goggles on me. My glasses, my real glasses, are all smudged up by trying to put the goggles on over them. They throw me out of the helicopter. I go down. They say, your feet are about to hit the ground. My virtual feet phase through the ground. My real feet hit ground. They say, throw the lever. Well, the lever's not where the VR lever is, but I throw it. They say, run across the plank. And I'm trying to beat the best score, so I bolt across this plank. They say, stop! Wait! And then the plank falls away. Half the plank. This is all in VR space and in real space. And you're looking down 2 stories to the ground, while walking on a 2-inch wide plank of wood. It's pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to lie and say this part was not cool. So I run across the plank. Oh, the next room. Get the taser gun. There's guys shooting at you, popping up from behind crates. I've seen a billion people go through now, so I know exactly what to do at every step of the way.
But you only get a taser.
I only get a stinking taser, not a AR-15.
Like you're walking home late from the bar.
Well, like some kind of analyst.
Like you're a single mother coming home from her job as a waitress.
Chili's.
They say, okay, get out of here. We got the intel. Run. Grab onto the zip line. You zip line down. It was roller coaster thrilling. It felt amazing. You hit the ground.
Because it was an actual zip line.
It was an actual zip line.
That's
I'm actual
cool.
zip lining down. My avatar in VR space flipped up into my face, and I couldn't see anything that was happening, but I could still feel the visceral thrill. They get down, and at the end, there's a Jeep that you jump into, and you pilot through a landmine-strewn battle street until you get to the safe zone. So I jump into the Jeep. I grab the wheel. They say, hold! Insurgents have compromised the Jeep. I say, okay, well, it's just another board situation. Half the Jeep's going to come apart, and then I'm going to jump in. So I get one hand on the wheel. Get your hand off the wheel! Insurgents have compromised the Jeep with explosives. I get one foot up on the runner. We are not riding the Jeep. The Jeep, take your VR goggles off. And for a split second, I still think,
this is part of the game.
Does this part happen not in VR space? But I thought, oh, the Jeep is broken.
The Jeep was mounted on something that could move.
The final thrilling conclusion to this entire odyssey was no longer working. I bet IMDb guy got the last functional Jeep ride.
He spent so long in it that he just wore it out.
So then
he was probably plowing some other intern, some Amazon intern in the
back
back
the
seat.
Suspension for sure. So they took off my stuff. They debriefed me. They said, "Was it worth it?" I said, I got a little I was a little grumpy by this point. You'll see in photos. I'm sure we'll post. I said it wasn't. I said, no, my avatar broke. And the Jeep was broken. So they gave me a Fire Stick by way of compensation.
Which is
and I
nice.
said, I already got one of these.
Give me 2!
True spoiled asshole. Until I finally realized, oh my god, what a jerk.
I don't know how spoiled you were, though. You were there since Thursday, basically.
Yeah, it was a 2-day travel. So
you ended up like 3:30ish finally
finished my run.
Like 4:30, I think.
And while I was up in the helicopter waiting for 6 hours, those 2 beers from the beer garden kicked in.
Oh.
And I said to the guy, never drink 2 beers before going up into the Jack Ryan experience. And he chuckled. And then threw me out of the helicopter.
Well, luckily the Jeep worked for Greg and Jeff, though, right?
Well, did it, Jeff?
So Greg went through...
Not a hitch.
Not a hitch.
No Jeep.
No Jeep.
I wish Greg was here to elucidate.
He would confirm everything Ryan said. And then I start my experience. I sit at the edge of the helicopter. They hook me up to the cable that they're going to lower me down to the ground from the helicopter. I put my goggles on, and they're like, let us know when you see your hands and feet. And I'm waiting, and I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't see my hands. So they restart the VR. And then everything goes dark, everything comes back up, menu pops up, Jack Ryan experience. Okay, let us know when you see your hands and feet. And I'm like, nope, no hands, no feet. Like, okay, they reboot it again, and they do like a deep system reboot, and like some
Get a C prompt.
yeah. This thing pops up with all these other games, and not the Jack Ryan experience. It's
Let's play Thermonuclear War.
yeah.
Tic-tac-toe.
And so eventually they like force a reboot into the Jack Ryan experience. I look down, I see my hands, I see my feet. I'm like, I'm good to go. So they lift me up on the cable and lower me down, and the VR experience kicks
Just a
in.
vector version.
And in the VR experience, the helicopter is speeding low over this Middle Eastern city, and you're like dangling off this cable, and you're looking down at your boots and all the rooftops, and it's pretty fucking sweet.
Is it kind of like that zombie one we did last year? You remember the zombie one where you were hanging
It was
off the...
better. It was way
It was,
better.
Was it?
Because
Okay.
there was much more
You were
physical
running and
sets
moving,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So they lowered me down. I went to do the switch that like Ryan talked about, and the switch wasn't where the switch was. I crossed the plank. That was very harrowing, but very fun. And then when you get across the plank, you go into this room where the whole taser firefight's going to happen, and I run into something with my hips, just like an invisible wall. And I look back and I see this like creepy gray headless body behind me.
So awesome.
And
You get the horror version.
and the guy is like, "Come on, analyst, get in here." And I'm like,
Room for one more, honey.
I'm like, my body is frozen. He's like, "What's happening?" He's like, my body is behind me. It's kind of stuck in the doorway. He's like, "All right, turn to your left." And he's like messing with my VR backpack. He's
What's weird is that you could see, like, your VR space was moving, eye-wise, but the body
my
wasn't
avatar
moving.
just got stuck.
So the screen
in
wasn't
midair.
moving around you at all?
No.
Okay. So when you saw your avatar, was it right in front of you?
It was right behind me, and then I walked away from it, but I was also running into objects that weren't, like crates and stuff, that weren't showing up in my
Right.
sim. So my simulation space was no longer mapped onto the 3D space.
Like a bumbling analyst. It was all part of the
Yeah.
Jack Ryan experience.
And so he couldn't fix my VR rig, so he's like, "Okay, you're going to take off your goggles, and we're going to send you back." I'm like, "Oh, uh-oh." So I walk across the
hell?
plank. I walk back across the plank and go up the stairs to the helicopter, and a bunch more people pile in. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not waiting an hour. So I, like, force myself to the front of the line. They're like, "Hello again, analyst." I'm like, "Yeah, my shit crashed." And so they rebooted it again.
16 IMDb interns
Yes.
jumped on the rope.
And they sent me down. This time, I don't know if like they sped through the helicopter part, but it's like the helicopter was dragging me behind over the city. It was like this crazy high-speed VR experience. It was awesome. And then I'm like, "Oh, there's the switch. There's the board. Go across the board." And then I figure out how to use the taser. I shoot the bad guys. They're like, "Put down the taser." And then I see this AK-47, and I'm like, fucking sweet. And I'm trying to grab it, and it's not there. They're like, "Come on, let's go." I'm like, but I don't want that. There's an AK-47.
Again, did not happen in my version.
But-
I don't know how that AK-47 got there.
But
There was a
eight-
ghost in the machine trying to get you.
Yeah.
Put 8 to the motherfucking K. Oh, boy.
Oh,
To
excuse
the
me,
motherfucking
AK-47.
K. So I did the zip line down, and then I go to the Jeep, which we've all seen is the big thrilling conclusion. And they're
But
like,
we haven't
Yeah,
seen
neither
it, though,
Greg
have we?
nor Jeff knew the terrible truth
Yeah.
that I knew.
so we get to the Jeep, and they're like, "Take off your VR goggles." I'm like,
No!
strange. I'm like,
And
but
Jeff
there's
ran away into the sunset
there's like
with his full
another-
VR rig.
there's like the big finale, and I'm like, "Just take off your VR goggles." And I'm like, "Okay." And I take off my VR goggles, and they're like, "Way to go, soldier! Walk through there."
They must
then-
have seen person after person go for that Jeep and every time have to be like, "Nope,
Yeah.
sorry. We know you've been watching for 6 hours."
Compromise.
So they gave me a swag bag that had no fire stick in it.
But then Jeff attempted to steal my Fire Stick.
Yeah, well, all the swag bags
Pulled the
looked
old
alike.
switcheroo.
Squeaky wheel. Squeaky
So I gotta
wheel,
say,
Jeff.
at this point, a little annoyed.
Yeah.
And this was Friday.
4:45 about or
Yeah,
something. You guys
yeah.
finally texted
just
me,
around 4:30.
and we're like, "Yeah, we're gonna." I was
done.
like, "You guys want to get something to eat or
So
something?"
you might as well have gone to work instead of.
Yeah, again, not as fun. Not like the day after sex.
Drew, what did you do this whole time?
I wake up, everyone's gone, and
Oh,
Get-
Drew was
They
not.
didn't even wake
was
you
smart
up.
enough to
well,
not
you
wake
didn't
up.
want to get up for that.
They woke me up. They woke up and
By
everything.
accident.
And once everyone left, I went back to sleep. And so then I woke up again. And so, oh well, I'll just go over to the Nintendo area and wait for them to open in the meantime. By the time I got over there, they were opening, so the line was like only 15 minutes long. And so got in, started playing some video games. I played Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I'm already sold on that game. Played Super Mario, played Mario Tennis Aces, played FIFA 19. I still have no interest in FIFA. Took a look at the Labo stuff that they were doing with cardboard, where they were
Did you
able to
fish? Did you use a fishing rod?
I did not, but I did control one of those like remote control cardboard creatures. They had Just Dance 2019, so I embarrassed myself there. Yes, the kid in the back.
Is cardboard where they have like a cardboard thing? like you have a cardboard sword or something, and you also in the game have that same thing? Or you have like a cardboard hat or something, and in the game you have the hat on?
So Labo is this STEM type software kit that they've
Science and
released.
technology?
Yeah, that they've released for the Switch. It can also teach kids coding and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Boring.
And so there's a variety of kits. They have the robot kit and they have the variety kit. And so it comes with these cardboard sheets, and you follow the directions,
And you can make the thing.
and you build stuff like a fishing rod or a piano or
What do you do with
a
it,
mecha
though?
suit. And
Live!
you
live!
well, you could create the piano.
Does the
And you
piano
can play
play?
the piano, huh?
Does the piano play?
No, it's
The
cardboard.
piano does play.
As good as a cardboard.
It plays in the
piano.
game, or
No, it plays.
oh, okay.
So
Out of
basi-
cardboard?
Yeah, because the way it works is they give you these detailed instructions on how to build it, and there's like white markers on the strings inside the piano as you build it. The left switch Joy-Con has an IR sensor, so you slide it in, and it can read the white strips whenever you push a button, and so it can tell which keys you're playing and duplicate the
Pretty
various
neat.
sounds.
That's
Except
pretty
it's
cool.
really expensive.
And they have and the robot kit works similarly when you're actually controlling the robot on screen by moving your arms and legs.
Okay.
But do you need the cardboard to do that?
It comes with the cardboard.
The cardboard is just for show, then.
The
No,
card
You need the cardboard.
you
Ed.
need the cardboard because the piano is built out of cardboard. The robot suit is built out of cardboard.
But you're just making the motion with the Joy-Con sticks, right? So that's all you really need. You don't need the cardboard.
Well,
You need the effing cardboard, man.
God
think you
damn
do,
it! You
'cause my
need the
kids are-
cardboard.
My kids are
Your
are
fucking
looking
kids
at
need
this
the
thing,
goddamn cardboard.
No,
Get
no,
them the fucking cardboard.
Maybe you
They're
can
looking
hack
at
it
this
together
thing.
out of your own cardboard.
and I'm like, we got cardboard around the house. Why do I got to pay all this money for cardboard?
and
Your
so
kids are going to be so embarrassed. And they're like, yeah, we had a Huggies box and a kitty litter box, and we were
Just like
making
my
the
Ninja
punches.
Turtles
Like,
sewer
so-
playset. We skipped over all of Thursday in Adult Swim.
Oh, I thought you were just in line all day Thursday.
No, sir.
no, they were in line all day Friday.
Oh,
No, we waited for an hour in line on Thursday at the fucking Jack Ryan VR
Jack
thing.
Reacher.
Then we went over to the Adult
Reacher,
Swim
analyst.
summer camp on the green and waited in that line again for
who's
like
the champion of this story?
an hour and a half. Ryan's the champion.
Yay!
We
'Cause
saw
there
that
was a
big
bazillion
line, yeah.
gigantic lines.
And we're like, oh, Jesus, it's wrapping around the harbor just like it did for Adult Swim last year. All right, screw it. Because the previous year you had to pre-register and get a QR code,
And none of it worked.
none of it worked. And we're like, okay, it's all broken down. People have been waiting all day. But as it turned out, those were people waiting in line for Hall H.
I went to ask the employees of Adult Swim what the other secondary line was for. They had no idea. So I had to ask the people in line who finally told me it was the state park line. This was a constant throughout Comic-Con, asking people who worked there what the deal was and them having no clue whatsoever. We did more go-karts without you, Ed.
So
yeah,
Adult
I know. I
Swim
would've liked
was
to have done
cool.
that.
Adult Swim was
Adult
good.
Swim was pretty bitchin'. Got lots of badges. There was
Last
a merit
year-
badger, even though the guy kept calling him a badge badger. I don't understand what that guy was thinking.
So what? It was like you were at summer camp.
Correct. Archery,
Go-karts.
go-karts, hot dog riding.
Riding a bull.
Third
Mini
thing,
golf.
fourth thing, more mini golf,
Yep.
which I lied and said I got in under 5 shots so I could get the pin, even though I got it in 6 shots.
And Rick and Morty were there.
I still feel guilty about it.
So Friday night,
We met in Old Town and had Mexican food and margaritas and beers and things. It wasn't as good as El Terminador, but it was better than the last place we went
But
to.
they
whatever
did
that was.
hold to a tradition this year, which was
Put the nerds in the
shunting
back.
all the
Yeah.
Comic-Con attendees to a
Shut-
secret back room where they
the
wouldn't
nerds in
bother
the
the normals.
All the San Diego businesses we went to did it. all the restaurants and bars we went to did it.
Oh yeah, we got seating right away.
Sure.
Oh, cool. Oh.
But then that night we almost witnessed a murder, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you guys about.
yeah.
was
So
Friday
so
night.
so set it up. So every year we must go on a quest for shampoo.
Because every year I forget to bring shampoo.
And
And
none of
And
the
why do you
goddamn
have to have
hotels give you
shampoo?
because my hair, I look
'Cause
like
it's got
Severus
long,
Snape if I don't
luxuriant hair.
put shampoo in my hair. It's like slimy and gross and hanging in my head if I don't get shampoo.
Even with shampoo.
Thanks.
That is to say nothing of his pubic hair.
And I always end up getting the same bottle of Suave. Somehow, a green bottle of Suave. And then I bring it home and it lasts me like a year because I've already got a bottle of shampoo at home. So I brought my Comic-Con
You're saving
Suave
money
home.
from Comic-Con.
But we walked from the hotel. We hung out. We ate. What did we do after we ate? We just walk back to the hotel after that, or did we go to the con for some reason?
We went to the con to see Brainstorm.
Oh, we went to go
Oh, that's right.
Brainstorm. They were showing movies at the con in one of the rooms, and they were showing Brainstorm, which was Linda Blair's last movie.
It wasn't Linda Blair's last movie.
It was Linda Blair's last movie.
No.
it wasn't.
Oh, Natalie Wood's last movie, I'm sorry. And we got there 40 minutes late, but it still felt like we saw the whole movie, like we didn't miss anything. It was very slow moving.
A lot slower than I remembered from being half asleep on my couch the last time I watched it.
Anyway, so we got back pretty late, and we were walking back, and I said, guys, I'm going to go get some shampoo because I forgot it again. And these guys insisted on going with, and I was like, I'm feel like I'm making everybody miserable. I'm being
It
hugely
was real scary out
a
there.
huge
where we were.
imposition because it was my idea to see Brainstorm, and then I'm like making you guys go get shampoo on top of it. And I was like, guys, just go home, but no, you insisted on going with. So you probably saved my life. So we walked all the way. I don't know how many blocks up. I don't know what time it
Long way.
was.
Too many
11:30,
blocks.
11:30 or something at night. I don't know. There was a guy in front of at a bus stop, little bus stop thing, enclosed bus stop thing in front of a psychiatric hospital, who had a boombox on and somehow had a flash thing going on. So he had like a rave going on in his little.
He was a one-man rave. He was
Yeah.
like blasting dubstep and just like tweaking out.
Going nuts.
Yeah.
And so we
Many a scary hobo.
Oh yeah.
was encountered, all over the place. Past liquor stores, past
Empty parking lots.
Tons of adult stores still in existence
strip
somehow.
joint.
Where
yeah.
did you guys stay? You didn't stay in that hotel Loop?
No, we weren't in a loop this time. We were back. We had been to this place before.
We foolishly made our hotel reservations in February instead of January, and all of Hotel Circle was
Or
sold
instead
out
of
already.
like
Yeah.
now, you need to make yours for 2020.
Yeah. In the morning, Greg and I were somehow ahead of everybody. Because we were going to get my car. So we crossed the street, and the whole corner over there that we had just turned down that night was blocked off with the, yellow police tape. And they had a SUV blocking the road, blocking the side of the street, police SUV, and the white coroner's van was there. And the detective was there with his camera and going, like, flashing shots and stuff. And there was, the coroner came out of the van snapping on the gloves and everything, and she went to the side of the road and crouched over something that was obscured from sight. And the news van was there. And flash forward, I looked it up when we got home, and somebody had been stabbed.
Unfortunately, some 65-year-old man was stabbed to death.
Death.
Mere hours after we walked past the
Yeah,
spot.
like not even hours, like 12 midnight or 12:30, and he laid there till we saw him. I guess right. He was discovered at like 1 o'clock or something, and just laid there dead like till the morning.
But the coroner's report says his hair was shiny, strong, silky,
Yeah.
and smooth.
At least there was that.
Unlike Severus Snape.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So
Rest
that
in
happened.
peace, I guess.
The moral of the story is bring your shampoo, boys and girls.
The moral of the story is bring your shampoo and book your hotels early.
And bring a buddy if you don't do
Yeah,
either.
buddy
Use the
system.
buddy system.
Saturday.
Because Jeff and I kind of
we
split
weren't
off
quite
at that point.
sure what to do. We tried to go to this Castle Rock experience. It was closed.
We tried the South Park
very
thing.
long line. Tried the South Park line. That was
Oh,
already
I had
3
Kenyon
hours long.
for breakfast. It was
Ed
great.
ate Kenyon. The sci-fi line was already around the block. I think we just went straight to the convention hall after that because there was no other recourse.
Yeah, we walked around. We saw the Yee brothers doing their Sentinel cosplay. Friends of mine. What else? Oh, then Elliot showed up, and he was going around the con to shoot for his documentary project.
Jeff
Do you want to talk
and
about
Ed left to go find Elliot while Greg, Drew, and I stood in the hallway in the convention center waiting for 2 hours for somebody to show up.
You
2
guys were
hours?
inside.
Which nobody did. That was my longest wait
I
of the day.
was
waiting
going
for Elliot
into
to
the
show up.
doorway at C, and they said you cannot come in here if you already have a badge. You got to go in another doorway.
That's what I said.
So
you
I
didn't
went
go
all the way
other
down to
door
B,
and then go to C.
and by that time I was like, I didn't see. I thought they were standing outside, so I didn't see him. I said they must have bailed. And I mean, who knows how long, when it was that you texted me, and versus what time it was now, and it took me forever to get down there.
I still got all the text with timestamps.
Yeah, and my time thing never is weird.
We did
but
bail eventually after like 2 hours of waiting and walked around the
good
show
thing
floor.
is that everyone had cell phones and could text each other
Yeah.
and
And
coordinate.
did. Of course, somehow at Comic-Con the cell phone dies extra specially early.
I feel
That's
like messages don't always go through.
They
Yeah,
don't
they get.
always.
I
I think
they do
there's a
get
hell of a
delayed.
lag on them, and so you never really know what time. Like, did he just send me this, or am I?
Like, bring one of the Comic-Con tip. Bring one of those little chargers, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about the project that you are working on. That's why you gave us stuff to film.
The project that I'm working on is a documentary called The N-Word about what it is like to be a black person who identifies as a nerd in this country specifically. So you watch movies, you watch TV, you love all that stuff, but a lot of it is extremely white. And one example, it was a perfect example, when we went to dinner Saturday, they showed Superman at the restaurant we were at. All the restaurants put on the dog for the con, so
Yeah,
where
there were
they
like
would
4
normally
different
have
movies
probably
going on.
had Ohio State football on. Tonight they had on
Logan, Superman,
yeah.
and like Batman running at the same time. Avengers.
So the first Superman, I don't know what year it was, 1979, Christopher Reeve Superman, and the only black person in that movie with a line was a pimp. And
It was a memorable line, though.
yeah, but he's a pimp.
Possibly the hero of the whole movie.
And growing up, you kind of love Superman,
Uh,
but Superman is not showing that he has any love for you.
uh-huh.
You're telling me in a town like Metropolis, the only black person in town is a pimp?
He did say "excuse me" to the pimp.
He was
I'll
polite.
be
He was
back.
polite to the pimp.
So that's what the N-Word documentary is about. Just kind of talking about how it feels to kind of be an outsider among outsiders.
So, Ed, what was your highlight of the con?
Just hanging at the Bayside Hotel, honestly. I didn't really necessarily accomplish anything professionally. I went to go see my buddy Daryl Gregory, who's up for a World Fantasy Award today, I heard, for Spoonbenders. And everybody eventually converged on the Bayside Hotel, and we sat up there drinking and talking, and we took some cool pictures together. And
My favorite things were certainly the Jack Ryan once we finally got through. I mean, it was fun
even
as
without
hell.
the Jeep,
Even without the Jeep, I wish it hadn't taken us as long, but I mean, the story almost even gives it a little bit of a boost now, just because it's such a ridiculous ordeal that we went through. I mean, it wasn't an ordeal. We just waited in line forever. But anyway, that was fun. And just walking around the con floor, seeing the cosplays.
Yeah.
We went to a really cool. I dragged Drew and Greg to live drawing demo Kim Jung-gi, this Korean artist, which was really fun. And going to see the live stream of The Masquerade, which I've never actually seen before.
Yeah, that was kind of
That was really fun.
sad that one girl fell, though.
Oh, this one girl fell two times.
This girl did a Mercy from Overwatch cosplay, and she had these like really tall boots, and she could not walk in them.
She just
fell
kept falling and falling and falling, but she kept
Tears in
going.
her eyes.
She kept
Really
going.
sad.
She persevered, and then we had to leave before any of the really, really crazy good costumes came out. But my lesson from this year was that, as I said to Jeff, I've been undervaluing the show floor and the sort of the traditional Comic-Con experience in favor of the outside activities. I got to see the most fun I had was when I just kind of relaxed and let the con happen around me. I saw Stan Sakai just sitting at a booth with no line, so I bought a collected Usagi Yojimbo and had him do a sketch for me and everything.
Cool.
That was pretty cool.
I ruined the print though. I got a free poster print of it, and it just got all folded up in my bag. I should have bought the $5 plastic case
sleeve
for
thing,
it,
yeah.
but lesson learned.
My daughter's a big fan of Lumberjanes, and the creator for Lumberjanes was there, so I got her a book of that and signed and everything, and some pins. And
I did
that was
find
cool.
one comic series that I thought, ooh, this looks interesting, and then I later bought it on Amazon.
Yes, it's cheap, right?
Yeah.
What? Anybody else pick up anything interesting?
Yeah, I picked up the last volume of Sixth Gun by
that's good.
Colin Bunn from
Oni.
And
I got Kaiju Max from Oni. Kaiju Max 3.
every year I
Story ganked.
every year I go and pick up all the Sixth Gun stuff, and that's it. That's a wrap on Sixth Gun.
One of my favorite Comic-Con moments going back several years was when we went to that Futurama panel when they brought Futurama back.
Yeah, that was...
Because the whole cast was part of the panel, and they read this comic book in the characters' voices. When what's the guy who does Bender?
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio. Yeah, when he was up there, he was kind of introducing the whole thing, and somebody said, "We love you, Bender."
So,
Shut up, baby, I know it.
I remember.
Yeah, you were there for that.
Yeah.
And we saw Ray Bradbury that year, remember?
Yeah, he called us all his bastard children.
And it's all about love, and everything you do is
And
just
he
love.
saw dinosaurs, and they changed his life.
So I still cling to my status as Ray Bradbury's bastard child.
What?
New topic. Every year I like to ask who won the con, who was most represented in the cosplay,
Oh, yeah.
and what do you guys think?
I saw a lot of handmaidens, which was weird.
Oh,
I didn't.
yeah.
I think I only saw two, and they were in black.
What did I see? I didn't
That's
see
weird.
a single Heath Ledger Joker
Wow.
this year.
None?
No.
I saw a lot of My Hero Academia. It was spread out from people dressing like the characters in their hero costumes, but most of all, I saw them dressed up in the school uniforms from that anime series.
I guess... Sorry.
I saw a lot of very tasteful and elegant Wakandan
Yeah.
I
garb.
didn't actually see any of those.
We
It was,
took a
you
picture
kind of had to
on-
look
They were
for it.
all over. You just-
I mean, I'm
you
not
can't
just
do
talking
NM.
about like
Just line to
full-on cosplay. I'm talking about like very subtle Wakandan fashion.
Yeah, and not
But
necessarily Black Panther.
Not a
but
lot of Black Panthers.
A lot
I
of
was shocked
Wakandans.
at
Maybe
how
it's just
few.
African stuff, and just like the shikis and.
Maybe it's because Killmonger's right.
I did see a lot of crappy suit Spider-Man Homecoming Spider-Man
I did see those, yeah, with the jacket.
with like the hoodie and stuff.
yeah, with the coat.
I would say overall, I think Spider-Man won the con. I
Yeah.
saw so many varieties.
Fairly
of Spider-Man.
often
I
the
saw a lot of
case.
Spider-Man.
More than
Always
more
lots
than
of
Star
Spider-Man.
Wars, more
It
than
was
any
a
anime.
very good Chewbacca.
Yes, an excellent Chewbacca. Chewbacca. I said to Ryan when I saw this guy dressed as Chewbacca, I nodded to him as if I was nodding to Chewbacca, like because I was like, "Oh, there's a familiar face, Chewbacca."
And he said,
like the actual Chewbacca.
And then you said, "What did you say?" He said, "Hey, have a good day."
Yeah, great Chewbacca. Yeah, there were a couple of Han Solos. I want to say Spider-Man too. I'm
A couple of
throw it behind
Thanoses.
Spider-Man.
But
I saw a good Jedi who was a black dude, and I talked to him about the N-word doc, and he said, "Well, I'm in the military, so I don't know And I said, "Oh yeah, are you stationed here in the Navy?" He said, "Yeah, I'm Special Forces."
Does he get any crap for
course.
being in
So
there?
he claimed to be a Navy SEAL.
They're always
Yeah.
Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Is that your friend that's fighting the war on Mars?
No, that's the other guy. That's a white guy.
What are you,
Weird.
Jeff? What was your favorite cosplay? So,
I mean, it's got to be Brett Sentinel.
it was pretty great.
I like how when he would talk, his mouth lights would flash.
Yeah. That was
My favorite
kid
part of
back
that costume was there was a little. He had like a ton of little action figures.
Yeah.
There was a little Cyclops, and his red eye beam was shooting into the Sentinel.
So he's
and
connected,
also
yeah.
Jean Grey was like holding him up with some little telekinetic magic. That was very
It
cool.
was
On
like
his-
a diorama you can wear.
Yeah.
On his foot, Colossus was winding up Wolverine in a speedball special or whatever. It was pretty cool.
It was very cool. Good job. Good job, Brett.
Yeah.
Fastball special.
Fastball
Speedball's
special,
where they
sorry.
take cocaine and heroin.
And shoot it up.
I
into
know
a
what I
Sentinel's
said.
nose.
Snicked. Oh.
So
He's Russian. That's how they... Oh,
Yeah.
I won't say that.
Who's Brett?
Brett's
Oh,
my
boy.
buddy.
Well,
yeah, you have been
until
there a
next
couple
year.
years.
I think we need to wrap. We need to wrap Drew. He's getting a little sleepy.
Freestyle, you mean, or
And,
rap?
Comic
W.
Con is gone again.
Don't do it. Don't do it. With the W.
We've all made some special friends. I said a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl of nerds.
So, wow, it's been a whole
It
year
is,
since our
though.
last Comic Con special spectacular. I'm sure before long it'll be the next one, which is the 50th anniversary of Comic Con.
Oh,
We've
wow.
all got our pro badges. So until Comic Con 2019, the Comic conversation
Will continue.
will continue.
Excelsior.